Hi, everyone, and welcome to Events Made Sane Lives. I am Christina, and today we are going to talk about things your wedding guests don't care about. I recently did plan my own wedding. I was very fortunate to have my wedding before COVID happened, it was almost right before all the closures really started happening. So I was very blessed for that. But there's a lot of things when I go to weddings that I notice the couple has spent a lot of money on and the guests don't really care. So I want to help you, one, keep your budget down because a lot of these can cost quite a bit of money. And two, make sure that you and your guests are having the most fun possible at your wedding. So the first thing I want to say for the things that your guests don't care about is programs. It used to be a big thing to have a program explaining who everyone was, how they were connected, the way everyone was coming down, all of that. You don't need to do that anymore. And I would really encourage you not to, because those programs are just going to end up going straight in the trash. Now, they do make great fans if it's hot outside. So if you want to do that and, attach them to a paddle, if your ceremony and your reception is going to be outside, that's a great way to add some comfort for your guests again, attach it to a paddle. There's a lot of places that'll do that for you, and they all just come that way. And guests can fan themselves while they're waiting, especially if it's going to be, hot and sunny during that day. So that is one way to add like an extra element to it. But most of the time, those programs are still going to end up in the trash at the end of the day. So if you're looking for a way to cut your budget, do it there. Now, if you do want to add fans, there's some great dollar store or Cost Plus where you can get fans in your wedding colors. And those are something that are most likely guests are going to keep. A lot of women will throw them in their purse. I know when I travel, I tend to carry a fan with me. It's a little ridiculous, but it's helped me more than once. The next thing that your guests don't care about is party favors. This is something that's really fallen out of favor, and I'm actually very happy for it because it was a lot of money that couples would spend, and people wouldn't do. A lot of times you'd end up with half the party favors still on the table because guests would forget them or they decide they didn't want them. So if you're going to do party favors, make sure it's useful and the guests are going to want them. A few that I have found really memorable is one couple did bottle openers. That's great. Those are still in my drawer. One couple did shot glasses. So that's great. So stuff like that, that's useful that people are going to be able to continue to use. That's great. The little chocolate covered peanuts or candies, those are nice, especially if you're not going to really be serving, if you're not going to have a dessert bar, you're just having cake. Those are a great way for other people who don't like cake, to have some dessert. But again, it's another cost that you don't really need to spend. The next thing your guests don't care about is speeches by all of your friends and family. Please, please, please limit your speeches to no more than 20 minutes tops. And that's everyone that's going to talk. There's nothing worse than a good party, vibing along, dinner's going really well. And then there's 45 minutes to an hour of speeches. And you still have all the dances, the cake cutting, the bouquet toss left. It really drags the party down. So keep your speeches to 20 minutes tops. Best man, maid of honor, maybe parents, and you, and everyone gets like 4 minutes, and that's it. So a lot of the times you've had somebody invite their plus one, and they don't really know you, they don't really know your spouse. So they're just sitting there listening to people they don't know talk about people they don't know. So think about people other than your family and your friends if you're having a wedding that you're inviting guests to or other guests to. The other thing your guests don't really care about is money dances or a long dance program that you've put together. Now, by all means, do your choreographed dance with your spouse. My husband and I had so much fun learning to dance. It was a great way for us to, do date night and calm down, learning how to do that during all the wedding planning. But don't do, a 5-minute song for the father-daughter dance, a 5-minute song for the mother-son dance, a 5-minute song for the money dance, a 5-minute song for your first dance together, and, et cetera, et cetera. And so just be aware, again, your guests are there to have fun. Weddings are all about the party. So, as you're planning everything, think about that. Now, doing the mother-son, father-daughter dance, those are important. You can even do them at the same time if you want, and if the parents are okay with that. But that's just something to think about. The other thing your guests don't want to see at a wedding is a cash-only bar, specifically if you haven't told them it's cash only. I've been to a couple of weddings that have done this, and it really brings down the mood very, very quickly. So again, something to be aware of. I have no problems with cash-only bars if it's been let everybody know in advance what's going on, or there's an ATM close by, or you've brought one in. There is options for services for that if you're interested. The other thing your guests don't care about is your seating charts. Honestly, unless there's major family bad blood and you need to keep people completely separated, seating charts are hard. The one bad downside to seating charts is you have to add 20% to your seat count, so that, people that have the odd, the 7 people, and then you don't necessarily always have people that have 3 to fill that table. Sometimes there's 2, sometimes there's 4. So if you're not going to do a seating chart, do not put the exact number of chairs. You need to add 20% to the number of chairs you're adding. But, guests want to mix and mingle. It's fun to sit down at a table and find new people. So just be aware of that. It's one of those back and forth things. Some people like to be told where to sit. Others can take real offense from it, like, oh my God, we're sat way in the back. We obviously aren't valued. So just something to think about. The next thing your guests don't really care about is your guest book. Most of the time, you get about a 20% participation rate to your guest book, unless it's there and someone's there as people are walking into the ceremony for people to do. So just be really aware of that. If you want to do a guest book, I think it's a great option. There's so many amazing options for guest books nowadays, but have someone stationed as people are walking in to encourage them to stop and sign your guest book, or do the thumbprint, or do pictures, whatever it is. The next thing your guests don't care about is how much money you have spent on your centerpieces, especially if they're tall and right at eye line. So people are having to go back and forth or up. You want to make sure your centerpieces are working with your guests. So either do super tall centerpieces or do centerpieces that people can look over. And remember, there's people that are shorter than you a lot of the times. So that's something I have to remember. I'm fairly tall. And so I have to remember that when I'm creating centerpieces, I want it to be shorter so that I can still see people and still have those conversations. So this live probably would have been better on the things your guests do care about. And for me, that's, thank you, Nancy. Yes, short people. There's 3 main things that I think your guests care about. One is you. They're there for you. It's your special day. They're here to celebrate you. So please take time, try to go around and see everybody, say hi to everybody. I know it's hard with the picture schedule and all of that, but please try to make sure to acknowledge everyone that's come to celebrate you on this day. 2, the food. People again, it's a celebration. They want good food. And food will probably be, 40 to 50% of your budget, especially around your guests. So do good food. Do food that people will like. It makes a difference in how people remember your wedding. And 3, people are there to celebrate, aka party. Let them party, let them mingle, let them do the thing that they're here to do. Weddings are often college reunions, family reunions. If people are forced to sit at their table for 3 hours going through your speeches, your dances, the garter toss, the bouquet toss, all of that, and then they've got an hour to dance, well, is that really a fun wedding? So really consider what you're doing and what you want your guests to have fun with, and that your guests are there to have fun. That's, the main function of a wedding is we're there to celebrate people. So understand that and really try to plan your wedding around that. If you can get those 3 core things, good food, time to celebrate, party, and being able to talk to everybody. I would add for most events a good bar as well, if that's in your budget. You can do just wine and beer, or there's a lot of ways to do an open bar or specialty cocktails. But that's kind of the 4th one that I really do encourage to add. But the most fun that people have had at weddings recently when they're talking to me is the ones that didn't have all of the fluff, all of the traditionalness, all of the things that the wedding industry has told us we need to do. Now, if those are important to you, do that. But if you're doing them just because that's what's done, really stop to consider that. So this is a little bit of a shorter live today, again, because at the end of the day, it's really the 3 things that your guests do care about. If you have any questions about wedding planning or other events, please visit our website at eventsmadesane.com, or you can find us on any of the social media platforms at Events Made Sane. Thank you and have a great day.